Do you have kids? I do, 10-year-old now. And we didn't know we were doing it right back then. But when he was younger, we used to let him play in the mud. And he loved playing in the mud. He would spend hours just digging and tossing mud around and burying cars, bikes, and digging them up all over again. He just loved it. Science now proves that that's a good way of doing things because playing in the mud somehow helps build up their immune system. It helps improve their mental health, apparently, with anxiety or stress. Anyways, the point is getting their hands dirty doesn't actually spoil their chances of being healthier and being better, stronger adults. It actually improves them. And so, as a motorcyclist, what I would like to say to you is get your hands dirty. I know it's a bit scary thinking about working on your motorcycle or even your car, although your avenues of what you can do in the modern day car are far fewer. So, just to round them up quickly, changing tires, fixing punctures, topping up the windshield washer fluid, checking on the fuses, being able to replace them. These are small things that you could do on your car. That's not really working on your car, but nonetheless, you as a driver and as a user of a car will feel far more confident and comfortable with it. And that changes your behavior and relationship with your car. There are far few things that you could do wrong in that scenario, but you should explore them nonetheless. Not because there are fewer mistakes to make, but doing those few things can make your automotive life a lot different. But when it comes to motorcyclists, there's so much more you can do, and I do suggest that you should do it. It's one of my favorite bits. I can give you lots of examples. You think you know theory, and I was once in my early days when I started testing cars and bikes. I used to work for Car India and Bike India magazine, and I was riding home at night on a motorcycle. I think it was the Unicorn. I don't remember which, but it stalled on the way home. It sputtered and died out. So I had already done a fair bit of reading up on how a motorcycle or an engine basically works. And so I got down to, trying to figure out what was wrong. I checked the overflow to see if the fuel was flowing through the carb, checked the spark plug, the lead, all of that, right? And it still wouldn't start. I remember calling my guru Amjad and asking him, I'm stuck. What do you think I should do? I've checked this, and it's still not starting. So he just told me, do you have a bara ka pana? So I said, yeah, it's there. I said, what do you want me to do with it? He said, just give the carburetor bowl a tap. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, just do that. Right? I did it. Basically, the float was stuck and the tap dislodged the float and let the fuel flow through the carb again. And it worked fine. Right? It was a small thing. I had done the best I could, but because I knew the basics, I had the confidence to ask for help further and had somebody to rely on to figure out what to do next. So starting on this journey is important. Start with the small stuff. With the motorcycle, there's so much that you can do on your own, like lubing the chain, by removing a wheel. I mean, it's a small thing, but it is actually in the number of steps and the little details that you have to watch out for. There's a lot to look at. But once you get the hang of it, it just becomes second nature. So being out on the road somewhere, being stranded with maybe a cut tire or a puncture won't faze you as much. Then you can move on to the bigger things like changing disc pads, which is another step, requires a bit more care. And trust me, I've made all the mistakes that you can imagine. I have misplaced the vibration dampers in the hub. So when you replace, let's say, brake pads, you will have to remove the tire and along with it, of course, the rim and the disc. And basically then there's a gap in the brake caliper, right, where the disc would usually sit. And at that time, you should not press the brake lever or the pedal because that presses the pads in and they won't return. I've done all those mistakes. I've sheared drain bolts while trying to remove them. I have cross-threaded bolts in so that they got jammed and then they had to be cut out and then tapped in again. So I made a lot of the mistakes and I learned from every one of them. These are smaller mistakes in the scheme of things, because now when I look at a situation where I need to get my hands dirty, I am more confident about it. Will I be able to fix anything and everything? No way. Bikes, cars are fairly complicated, and not everything can be fixed on the roadside with just a couple of wrenches. More often than not, especially with all the electronics on board now, you can't. But at least it gives you the wherewithal to get down to figuring out what is wrong. And that can help save time, effort, and just a lot of worry. So I'm asking you to go to your mechanic. And typically, most of us who are, heart and soul into this, will have that one trusted person that we go to get our vehicles worked on, be it cars or bikes. And if that person has a relationship with you, sure enough, they'll be willing to help you. And as for the people who are watching, and if you happen to have a garage, give these people who are earnest and keen the time and space to do this under your supervision. You'll be making this space so much more enjoyable. Motorcycling, the journey through it, just so much more enjoyable for so many more people. And I would say that if you are using somebody's space, using somebody else's expertise to make yourself richer, it's only fair that you should be willing to pay more for it, right? So instead of a normal service, throw in a bit more so that you can spend time there and work on your bike. It'll be money that's very well spent, trust me on that. Just from letting the oil out from your engine, topping it up again, changing brake pads, lubing the chain, getting things just set right, lubricating everything, the cables, everything. The small things, they're not big steps, but they will change how you are connected with your machine. It will make it a lot more satisfying. And just like the kids playing in the dirt, for me, this has always been a big factor. Getting my hands dirty has always made me a little happier, a little bit more satisfied, a little bit more confident. As much as I enjoy riding, this is also another part of motorcycling and cars for me that makes it complete for me. Without this, I don't think I would be as happy, as confident, and as, satisfied. So my advice to you again is simple. Get your hands dirty. Start small. Step it up. Those of you who can enable people to do this, take these first steps, help them out. It'll be worth it for you and for them. Thanks so much for watching, and let us know if you have, or if you haven't, if you've been scared to do this. Don't be. Things, even when they go wrong, can get fixed. It's just a question of how much it costs, right? So don't worry about it. Try it out. Take small steps at a time, and you'll see how it goes from there.